Hello, my name is Elias Romero, and I'm going to be talking to you about the six values and the ACA Code of Ethics of how it shapes our moral compass in terms of how we are supposed to relate to our clients. Basically, I have read Daniel 2020 in its entirety. I'm going to be talking about how the principles that I use, the ones that I feel are closely regarded towards how I would implement towards my clients. But the one that actually stood out to me and opened my eyes reading this book was the one of beneficence. Basically, we all have, the client's interests at heart. And even as being Christians, it correlates to the two because as, a Christian, we have love for our fellow man and we want their best interest. We want them to go to heaven to make disciples. But also, one thing that is very important is with the beneficence that we use in counseling, it's not just the benefit for Christianity in our sense, in terms of making it to heaven, for them would be to help them and to look what's going to help them the best, and not just according to the code of ACA Code of Ethics. We're not just going to implement our own views on them. We're looking at their well-being and what will prosper in their life, but also the continuance education. That's what stood out to me the most because in order to make them more efficient in their decision making with autonomy, we're going to have to give them the best tools to utilize and the best scenarios to make them conclude their own decisions. And with continuous education, we're supposed to be studied up. We're supposed to be knowledgeable of everything that we need to give them the right tools to make a competent decision. And that's one of the things that I learned the most about, and it correlates to Christianity. All the six values really they correlate to Christianity, even with autonomy for God. Letting us make our own decisions, even though He gives us the tools. Just like beneficence, we have the tools, we have the literature, we're supposed to be studied up and continue our education. We have all the tools necessary to be able to give the client the decision to make their own. But basically, that's what I learned. And the one that I'm going to have the hardest, difficult time with is autonomy, um, because basically, letting someone make a decision that it's not going to be in their best interest, but we still have to sit there and let them make it. That's going to be the thing that I'm going to be continuously um, struggling with in my profession. Basically, one of the things that I learned the most was that beneficence is something that is necessary, and it's also the biggest difference from giving someone advice and being a professional. One of the things that I feel that is very different for me is just looking at it in the perspective of this is what's going to make me better, and in turn of making me better, I'm helping my client to make a conscious decision and a better decision. One of the things that I found most difficult was just different beliefs that would not be in line or in tune with Christianity or with my views. And that's going to be something that I pretty much feel like most counselors deal with. And I feel that it's something that's going to have to just be put to the side because we're looking at the client's well being. And the book by Daniel was well thought out. It had good examples, it had good scenarios, it had good videos, it had good questions at the end, and those questions that made you think and gave you a better understanding of what each individual value or core was. One of the things that I did notice basically was that stood out to me was that C.2.F on the Code of Ethics basically talks about continuous education. And that is one of the things that I feel is most beneficial to me in terms of one of the things that I feel will help me to become a better counselor. Also, I feel that I would want to be studied up on all the necessary tools to help someone to become a better person. You cannot deny the clients. That's another thing that I just really, contemplated on. You cannot deny clients in terms of if they're gay or if there's something that, does not go in tune with what your beliefs are. And you cannot turn them away. Because I never thought about if a client comes to your office and you've given them 6 sessions and then all of a sudden in one of the sessions they tell you that they're gay, or they tell you something that you're not in tune with, that you did not expect, but you already started sessions with them. So that's something that you cannot turn them away. You're supposed to just be a professional and, not just put them off on another physician or another counselor. So that's something that made me more cognitive. Basically, the ACA Code of Ethics basically ensures us of making the best possible solution by giving us a guideline and a platform to follow. That is one thing. An article by the American Journal of Bioethics basically talks about, beneficence is looking out for the client's well-being and interests, regardless of how we feel and how we feel. It is in not in concordance with what how we feel, and that is what I wanted to talk to you about. And I thank you, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.